Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so my first question actually is how do you pronounce your name? It's a bit tricky,
It's Dushyant Kanungo.
Dushyant.
I know it is hard to pronounce even in India.
Yeah, Dushyant, it's a very nice name. Yeah, and the good thing about complicated names is that once a person remembers you, they remember it forever. So yeah,
Yeah,
once
that's
they
true.
learn to pronounce you. So my name is basically Sayyid Zuriyat Adil. I have slimmed it down to SZAdil. So Adil is easier, and SZ is something that everyone can pronounce. So yeah.
Right.
So how was GTEx for you?
This was the first big exhibition that we were at. I attended Gitex in the past, and it always has been one of those phenomenal events where you have to be very alert about the things which are going on around you. It was an amazing experience to be there. A lot of learnings, a lot of walking. I mean, anybody who was there can actually attest to it. And it's really difficult to actually cover the entire conference, especially when situations like this year, when they actually divided into two parts. And so, if you are lucky, if you are able to cover at least the one of them,
Yeah.
let alone the two. So yeah, it is such a great exploration of how technology has come over the years. Last year it was all about blockchain. Everybody was talking about it. This year everything AI took the
Yeah.
center stage, and it was different and quite exciting.
Yeah, yeah, AI was very much, center of it. And the funny thing about AI is that it has been, here for a while. But last year with the Chat GPT, it actually exploded. And what's even more, interesting is that uh, we saw, even things that were not even, related to Chat GPT, they got massive, as well. So, a lot of work is being done, right now in I'm actually forgetting the name of that creative application that yeah, I totally forgot that name. So it
There
basically
are
generates images
multiple
for you. Yeah.
applications. There are multiple applications in generative AI which are taking center stage. I mean, UI-Zard is one big example of it, where you can just say, on a prompt, you can actually generate a design. You
Yep.
can just scan a paper wireframe, and it gives you the UI generated out of it. Even Figma has introduced some plugins that you can play around with to get the best of AI. But I think there are a couple of things that generative AI is taking the giant stride is in the documenting the design. That is something which has come a long way. And I think with the arrival of Apple Vision Pro that is going to happen early next year, a lot of market will open up to a new tech. It's not just about Apple, but also the supporting players in the game. They are also going to march in the same direction. So from UX point of view, it becomes a very personalized experience that you're delivering, your on point experience, which are going to go around. And it is going to change the way people perceive the information, the way it is going to come out. I mean, big data is always there, but with the advent of or the open source access to AI based platforms is going to change the world as we see it in the next couple of years. I mean, hardly you'll be surprised to know that the way the design leaders in the world are thinking about and going on about how AI is going to transform whatever they do in the workplace.
Yes, and especially in Gitex, I saw that there is a lot of hologram is getting. You saw a lot of them as well. So yeah, and that thing, and also especially you talked about the Apple Vision Pro. That is a very that is going to accelerate a lot of things for us as well. So as being a director of Galaxy UX Studio, how will you guys tackle that? Because it is going to change the whole landscape very fairly quickly. So yeah.
So when we went to Gitex, the first thing was very clear that even with the past experiences, that you cannot just rely on the good old design that you are bringing to the table. For UI, I think design systems and scalable ones at that are the core crux of it. So we offer,
Yep.
rather than asking you to, you have a startup, we are designing the app for you. We say no, let's do a design system because your organization is definitely going to scale. When it came
Yep.
to VR or AR or Apple Vision Pro, we created the business ideas out of it. We said, what can we do? What can you do with this? So the best things that we actually brought onto the table was some POCs, some videos that were created with it. So one of the things was a classroom where the students can actually put on those glasses and interact with one another. Another one was a high-end auction house. You can see the items in bed right there. Another one was that if you see a virtual museum, you can just see the artifact. You can see it in 360 degrees rotation, and then you can buy the ticket. So those are the knowledge base and the information access, the way it is going to go around. One of uh, the big use case that I see is going to be in sports, where I can buy a season pass to an NFL or maybe the Cricket World Cup or IPL, as it is very popular here. And you can just choose that whether you want to sit in the dugout or do you want to be part of the spider cam or the best seats in the house. And I can just buy and just be there in the stadium cheering for my team. And these are the ideas that definitely are going to be the next big things.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I never thought about it from the sports perspective, but yeah, it actually opens up a lot of conversation for a lot of things. Yeah, cricket being the top of everything. Yeah, that is going to be very interesting for us as well. So yeah, I do have a very connecting questions to that as well. The first question I have with that is that you might have noticed that in UAE marketplace, especially. There is a very influence of the traditional e-commerce websites still going on, whereas
Yeah.
India is very adoptive to new technologies. As soon as it comes in, they adopt it pretty well. So how do you guys take care of the clients in such space? For example, in Middle East, they are still going with traditional design. In India, they want the latest design, and in USA the whole conversation is different. So how do you guys take care of the global marketplace in such scenario?
So retail wise, if you talk about the
Yep.
industry as in that what your software you're using on day-to-day basis, for example, Kareem is one of the best approaches. They are providing you service. One app does everything for you. And
Yeah.
in the same space, if you just think about the service industry, the appointment industry, or maybe some time that you have to secure because time has become available because of the tech, but at the same time, you want to save it further. So I think that way the retail industry or the traditional commerce is not going to go away. It is just that the personalized suggestions and the ideas based on the data that you have is going to take a big leap from where things are. So for example, I can just set up that what food I want to eat, and my app can see that how much I have walked that day, what exercise I've been doing, and then based on which it can recommend that this is the food you need right now, because we can check your blood glucose or heart monitor, and this is what you should be eating, and it can be here in 15 minutes because that's when you are going to be really hungry. I mean, data
Yeah.
can tell you all that, and that is going to be the future. You just have to say yes and no, because there could be offline things that you wanted to do in your life,
Yeah.
but certain recommendations can help transform your life. And it is um, when it comes to expanding on those technologies, I think UAE is far ahead than India, because we are still seeing that consumer market. When it comes to expensive gadgetry or wearable tech, I think UAE has a better market. It's a better
Yeah.
fit for products like that. And you feel that you might be not at par with the tech adoption, but trust me, the way things that we have seen there, UAE is a big place to accommodate everything that you can imagine for the future.
Yeah, that's also, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Especially I saw that in healthcare and in a lot of other things as well. Also, I was talking to someone from the real estate marketplace earlier, and they are trying to accommodate as much AI as possible, and they are actually designing a lot of interesting stuff for that as well. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And especially I think the major factor that plays a role in UAE is basically the expat population, because 90% of people are expat here, so everyone brings in their own flavor, and then it's a very a good blend of everything. So switching gears to because I was looking at Galaxy UX Studio, especially some case studies that you guys have done, and I noticed something that you guys have worked a lot in healthcare segment, and then you guys have also worked in other segments as well. So how was healthcare for you guys?
Um, so the thing is that being tech agnostic or industry agnostic is one of the key factors that can be comprehended in the entire mix, because if sorry, are you hearing the dogs in the background?
Yes, I am.
Sorry,
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It happens a lot. Yeah, I used to have dogs as well. So yeah, it's okay.
this is my neighbor's dog actually, so I can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
Um, so the being industry agnostic is part of the deal, because if I get too familiar with an industry, I think it would be really hard for anybody to produce good UX, because anytime you are assuming something, you are making a fool of yourself. You don't know the users wherever they are in the world, be it in US or India or UK. I think US is a bigger market that we covered, and the same thing applies to the industry, because that keeps the interest alive. That while I work in finance or healthcare, or even for a lot of work that we did for big data and enterprise user experience, that always teaches you something new about a new industry and the domain that you are looking at. And whenever there is a new challenge, it's an opportunity for you to learn and grow and take learnings from one industry to another. And this is how you're stitching together a world where people are aligned with what they wanted to do in the end. And people are the same. I have traveled the world, and I can safe to say 25 countries is, yeah, you can say
nice, nice, nice. Yeah,
you can say it's safe to say that I have seen and been there, done that. So the one thing that actually pops up is that people across the world are the same. They have the good days, the bad days. They get excited about the same things. They get disappointed about the same things, and no one is intentionally bad. It could be in your story that somebody might be a villain, but they are not. They are all good people, good at heart, and they want to live the best life out there possible. They can make out the best out of it. So as a UX person, our job is to ensure that the happiness does not get hampered by something that we are doing intentionally or unintentionally. We want to ensure that we are not creating something which is going to be used for any unethical purposes, and how we can actually put stops to or fail safes that we have to build in into the software and application, so that it doesn't get wrongfully used whenever we are creating the solution. So to answer your question, yes, we have been working with larger scale and smaller scale clients, but it's all about getting the fine experiences that we can come up with. We work with big budget productions, and also some startups who are just getting by. I mean, I just recently did a project for free for students of University of Texas, because the product got me really excited, and I said, wait a sec, I'm going to put some of my junior designers, of course, but you are going to get something that is going to elevate your product to the next level. So it's all about the perception that you have about the industry and the market, because every small player needs a bigger chance, and every bigger
yeah.
player you need for running the house.
Yeah. So how so I'm gonna elaborate further on that and ask you a further question that when you work with a very small team, they are usually very robust, but when you are working with really big giants, so there is a lot of bureaucracy that comes in, because I have also worked with some of the Fortune 500 companies, and yeah, it's a very slow process, but at the same times some of them really implement changes very rapidly as well. So how do you guys deal with that, especially when you are working for someone who is really going to implement it across 1,000, 10,000 people, and whereas some people who are just five people who are trying to start it.
Bigger the company, the structure is really gets there. You cannot have a bigger company just running in the blind. That is one lesson that I have from my past experiences. In enterprise, you need to establish a process earlier on, and that takes time. And once you are through with the basic modus operandi agreed upon, that this is how we are going to function, this is how we are going to operate, then it becomes easier. So I think design op becomes the greater deal here, that whether you are going to design sprints, you are going to ensure that how the backlog of tickets is getting managed. Um, pardon me. And how the entire delivery system works, and where are the sign-offs, and what is the design system. It's all about just understanding and making a linear communication channel that becomes the part and parcel of working with enterprise. Once that is sorted, I think you are good to go. That now it is just about managing expectations and delivering the best that you can actually do, because you have the benchmarks, and if anything that comes which is not fitting in the formula, you can always make a note of it. You can always mention it in the next general meeting that you are going to have with the client, that something off the mark has happened, and then we accommodated it, but this was something which was unusual, and we would need your support. There is clear line of escalation if things get stuck in enterprise. So it's less firefighting. Generally when we are working with enterprise,
Yeah.
say, we work with the Netgear, State Street,
Yeah.
Staples, Fiserv. I work for Santander, Dyson in the past as well. And
Nice.
they all have this formula where everything has to be done a certain way. And learning that becomes your job. A lot of ownership comes in enterprise because they are thinking from a different perspective. And it is your job to make sure that they save money on training, they save money on information which is presented, and the amount of data that you have is completely different from what you would get otherwise. So a process is required for enterprise, per se. I'm not saying that you don't need it for the smaller clients, but the smaller clients need a lot of hand holding.
Yeah.
A lot of assurances are required. You might run into a lot of burning buildings that you have to do the rescue part. But
Yeah.
then here, the evangelism part plays a bigger role, that you have to be really active and explain the UX processes that you are doing, why it is important. And sometimes they want to just dive off the cliff, and you can actually do only much that you can just say, listen, yes, we agree. Here is an alternative that we have designed. If
Yeah.
you want to go with your idea, is fine. Otherwise, can we just do a user testing? Can I just bring you to the users, and then we can validate the idea to get things sorted? But it's different experience. It's a different challenge that you have, and that's what keeps you interested in the career.
Yeah, yeah, that's very right. Also, with the small startups, what I have seen is it's from startup side, mostly from my side as well. That the lack of documentation actually kills a lot of it. So usually when you are starting a startup, it's more of energetic process than proper linear processes, and that actually, and as soon as the hype dies down, because you can only stay. Motivated for so long. So yeah, that kind of a thing does kill the production as well. But yeah, other than that, it's really better when you are working with startups, especially if you have proper documentation done and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna ask you a very different question now, because it actually poked my interest. You have been to 25 countries. So which was the most, the country that actually shocked you, or something that you saw that you didn't see in any country? Obviously people are the same, but yeah.
I think I would say Sweden. It's quite
Nice.
different. It's all IKEA. But no, the accommodation, the hospitality, and the different culture set that I have found there. I have a few good friends from the university days living there as well. But yeah, I think Sweden, it has to be the place which has a completely different take on the world. They have a lifestyle which is, I haven't seen anywhere else. May it could be the Scandinavian thing that might be flowing to Denmark or Norway or Finland, but Sweden is quite different from the rest of the world. That I can tell you. Technology-wise, they became cashless ages ago.
Nice.
All the tech interactions are hugely effective, and people just accept the fact that whatever is going on in the world for them. They're clean and green country, well, excellent public transport and connectivity that you would imagine from a European country. There are some places which still I don't, not a fan of. because of the just the sheer size of the country to manage. But I think Sweden is one of the top of the list countries that I can name.
That's very nice, yeah. Because my other friend, he also has been through the world, and he has the same take as you, that people everywhere are the same. But he did have one pointer there, that he was saying that when I met people from Japan, especially Tokyo, even when you are on the wrong, they are the first one to apologize. And with that kind of struck me that niceness is always rewarded. Even if because that
Always.
that's a person that has been to 30 countries or 20 countries, and he still remembers the people from Japan as the one that are the most nice ones. So yeah. And also Sweden, it also fascinates me as well, because the keeping the green, especially with the technology, it's a very hard job, because yeah.
It
So
is, and they actually have these plants which where they burn the waste to generate electricity, and they ran out of
nice.
waste, so they had to import garbage from the neighboring countries to keep their generators on. So,
Yeah.
and it was the first time when I was there. It was back in 2006, I think, when it I was there over a summer, and the sun never set, and it was ridiculous to be up, having light outside your window 24/7. So sun would just roll around, and it won't just go away. And it was fascinating experience to begin with.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that's a good experience. I think I want to try that. That sun never sets. Yeah, it used to fascinate me when I was a child, that there is a place in the world where sun never sets. And yeah, you kind of reminded me that. So yeah,
So you should try Stockholm in July, or you can figure out when the Midsummer Festival is going to happen in Sweden, and around that would be the best time to visit.
sure, sure, sure. That I'll put that in my list as well. So I'm gonna go back to Gitex. So which startup did you saw, or which corporation you saw that you actually liked, and you were really, yeah.
Ah, the Printex is one of the fascinating thing that I actually saw, and it was fun because these guys went on the pitch stage and then said that we are going to give you a demo, and this guy pulls around a box of mobile phone, but as thick as well, and he said that we do temporary tattoos, and you can select the design in the app, and he just put his arm out and just wiped it, and whatever was the design selected got printed on his arm, and he printed Gitex there, and he said it is washable. So next day it will come off, but it was fantastic the way that the technology was working. He was able to give a demo, and I'm like, right from the weddings to party venues or product launches or for marketing strategies, it was one of the most thrilling products that you can actually see and find. A few use cases of AI were quite exhilarating. One was that by looking at your face, they can recommend what cosmetics you might need. It was a product
Nice.
from France. Another one was you are walking in a mall, and the
Yeah.
display which is in front of you, the advertisement board will show a different ad based on you. So
Nice.
they can actually identify your age, your gender, and your body language, and based on which the advertisement will come. So they can also guess your weight and body type, and so you don't get discouraged by seeing somebody who is not you, and
Yeah.
nobody's wasting money. So they can actually figure out what kinds of audience actually walks past a certain display, so that they can actually monetize it further. And that was cool.
Yeah, that these both are very, very interesting. I did saw the one about the mall, but I didn't see the print text. But yeah, I'm gonna go and try and check them out as well, because it, especially in India, it has very huge potential. We have so many weddings, and every day there is a new design that, especially I would like a temporary tattoo that I can change every once in a while. So yeah, yeah, that would be very cool. Yeah.
I mean,
So
imagine being on a beach and having a like proper big ass tattoo.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. So a big tattoo on your arm. So please edit that out.
Yeah, yeah, I will edit that out. Yeah, but yeah, that is a really interesting one. And the one that I personally liked was Dracula. Did you saw them?
No, I haven't.
They were also French. What they have done is, if you remember the old Casio calculators, they
Mhm.
used to have a solar chip on
Right.
on top
Oh
of them.
yes, yes. I saw it. It was
Yeah,
right in front of the cosmetic one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there was like, if you put hands on it, the light goes off and then it will come back.
Yeah. And
We
it
were in the
charges
same
from your
hall.
room. Yeah, yeah. It basically charges from the normal light source, the
Modulated
LED
walls. Yeah.
bulb and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting one because it's a very small concept. Like it's a thing that has already existed. They just improved it so much, and then they are now marketing it. And I was thinking, from the lithium case, because lithium is a mineral that is very hard to mine, and stuff
Right.
like that. And if you are able to say that, okay, based on this, we will be able to save 20% of lithium ion batteries, the smaller batteries that are around the world, and 20% of it is a huge deal
Big,
in
big
10
number.
years. Yeah. So yeah, that is
It's a
going
big
to be
number.
the a very green initiative, and it is going to get back support from a lot of the countries as well. So yeah, that actually piqued my interest, and that was a kind of a light bulb movement, that you don't need to go really big. You just need to see where you
The
can
right
even.
size.
Yeah, yeah. So that was very interesting for me as well. And also I was looking at some other AI, not AI, just robotics. That Chinese robot, that dog, that was in that hall. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
it was doing
Yeah,
laps, but that was already in use in the
yeah, yeah,
Asian
yeah, yeah,
Games.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was bringing back the the bowls, or
yeah,
when you throw the javelins, it would just bring it
yeah.
back
Retrieve it,
to.
yeah, retrieve
Yeah,
it,
it
yeah,
was doing the retrieve wing part. I mean, some human would put it on it and then it
yeah,
will just walk. And because of the legs, the it doesn't matter that which terrain you are actually working in, so it can actually walk up to like 60 degrees or something.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that was quite something.
Yeah, that was also very interesting one, because these are the things that that really fascinate people as well. And I actually asked her, and she was like, "This is actually publicly available, so you can actually buy it for three
Buy
thousand
it, yeah.
dollars." Yeah, so I was actually thinking about it, that instead of a dog, I'm gonna get this one, and I'm gonna put a leash
No,
on it.
no, no. A dog is a
Is
dog.
yeah, yeah, a dog
No,
is a
you
dog, but
cannot replace a dog.
yeah,
The
yeah,
love that you get from a
yeah,
dog,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
that yeah,
get from a robot. No.
yeah,
Humans, yes, replaceable. I can
yeah,
100% agree.
yeah, yeah. That's true as well. So, these days, as a company, what are you guys focusing on, or what is the major project that is, that you guys are focusing on?
So right now, after Gitex, we've been talking to a lot of organizations about how we can improve their efficiency when it comes to scaling big, because everybody wants to do their thing now. And design system is something that I'm a big advocate of. At least having that consistent look and feel and design will save you a lot of time when it comes to adding a module, or even the cost of development goes rapidly down when you have a design system in place. So that is something that I'm focusing on. I'm vocal about it and talking to people a lot. Second thing is, even in VR, that we have the sample study, so I think we are good to go with the market with everything that is required to do that. The personalization part about AI is something that we are still discovering and we are exploring further about it. So in UX, I think generally we are relying a lot about the generative AI components. So at least for the documentation. So you just mentioned earlier on in the conversation that a startup has the biggest of the problems where they get stuck on the idea stages and do
Yeah,
very less documentation. So I think we can do it rapidly because the experience there is, the questions that we have to ask, the biggest question that we ask and people don't have the answer to is, how are you going to make money out of this? And they don't know. uh,
yeah,
you say you have an app idea, I'm fine, we are going to develop it. How are you going to charge your subscribers? It is going to be one
yeah,
time fee? Will there be a subscription model? Will there be a commission model? What exactly, at what stage you get paid? And that those they don't have the answers to those questions, and sometimes they actually believe that certain screens are not required, just say key reset password, and you're like,
yeah,
that's bare essential. It has to go into development, it has to be
yeah,
accounted for, and you have to have a functionality to support it.
yeah,
So just bringing those items to ground and giving them a reality check that this is the best that you can have, plus making sure that they get to the right people for right incubators, right investors, how to prepare the pitch, how to promote the market share and the forecasting of the revenue. Those are the things that we are also helping out with the startups, and I think that is where we are getting good results, because if I'm working for a startup, they get funded, we get more money to work on the scale on the project.
Yeah.
So we help as much as we can to make sure that they have something that they can actually pursue
Yeah.
in the future and in the market. And when you see something happening, something developing, the ideas don't fizzle out, then you know that you have a tech partner or people who can actually support you with the line of inquiry that you are actually doing or working on. We also talk about that this is not going to work out, or there can be, certain ways that the financial challenges that you might face, or there is a big competition out there. Then they can
Yeah.
actually decide that whether to continue or wrap up with the idea.
Yeah, that's very important that there are a lot of competition out there, because sometimes you wake up and you have a good idea, but then you search the web and it has been already implemented in 2016 and 2015. So yeah, that happens a lot. Thank you so much. We have hit over 30-minute mark, so I'm gonna wrap it up. So do you have any closing remarks?
No, I mean, thank you for inviting me over. I think AI, UX are born for one another. There has
Yeah,
been technologies in the past, such as NFTs, that, from the beginning I was skeptical, but this time
yeah,
around I'm really, really helpful. And any startups who are listening to this, please ensure that you check us out on the website and get in
yeah,
touch. If you need any consultation, we'll be happy to help.
yeah. Thank you so much, Dushan. That's how it's pronounced, right?
The ship, yeah,
Dushyant. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
and bye.